I got piles of uncrushed cans everywhere, and I'm getting tired of it. So we're building an automatic can crusher. So this is an old bed frame. I welded it together. So these are my spindles. We're just going to take off this axle nut here, and let's grab a tire and see if it fits. Well, obviously we have a problem with this being a little bit too flexible, so we're gonna have to stop this from twisting. I think this metal's a bit too thin. Alright, it's the next day. We've got some bars welded up, and so let's see what the next problem is going to be. Probably that the foot isn't rigid enough, and this thing is going to try and tip over. And let's see if the tires touch in the middle like they're supposed to, or if I'm not capable of using a tape measure. Well, apparently I can't measure, because then these tires weren't touching. So what I did is I cut this, and I cut out about, this much, and I shortened it and I welded it together. Then I put the tires back on, and now they're just barely touching, which is exactly what we want. And then, this was off an old, I don't know, leaf shredder, wood chipper, kind of very light duty sort of thing, and it didn't work. It was all rusted together. So I just cut this up and I cannibalized it, and you can see I got an old wheelbarrow. And I just kind of did some war crimes to connect them together, and yeah, just kind of like welded everything violently. So it's pretty awful, but it is one piece now. So my next thing is this. Somebody even dumber than me built this, so it has all sorts of problems. For example, I plugged it in, it popped a breaker immediately. There's nowhere to screw this switch down because this is the wrong kind of box, and this thing, you move it all the way over and it only lines up with the second to last pulley. It doesn't line up with the last pulley. Then you move it all the way this way, and I think it's going to stick off out here into space. So they put this piece centered and that piece as far off-centered as they could, and it still wasn't enough offset. So they shouldn't have put this centered to begin with, because we're going to need to move that more to one side than the other because the motor is off-center. So it was just whoever assembled that was really dumb. So I'm going to move this to the left, and I think I'm going to use that motor instead, because that one I know works, and that'll save me having to figure out what's wrong with this one until another day. Well, let me show you what I got before it gets dark. It's not quite ready to be powered on yet here, but as you can see, there's this motor assembly held by a hinge, and so the weight of the whole motor assembly presses it against that tire, and you can see there's the multi-pulley, and so I have it on the maximum reduction. It still spins pretty fast, and then I have just this rock grinder is going to press against that tire, so that's another pretty good reduction, even though again it'll spin pretty fast. Got your power switch. There's kind of a belt tensioner that doesn't really work that I cobbled together there. The purpose of the stick is I'm going to weld an extra support in there just to make it a little bit more rigid, and then it's either going to work perfectly first try, or it's going to dismantle itself destructively and it's going to be a big pile of scrap. So let's see. All right, well, let's turn it on, I guess. Okay, the only thing I'm noticing, oh man, that was the worst thing ever. There's a couple of pieces of metal that are for directing the cans that are hitting the tire. So I'm going to bend those, and then I'm going to dump some cans in it. It only does it one at a time, but it sure is more fun than doing it by hand. This is the worst thing I've ever done. Oh, shit. Oh, that's pretty flat. My wrench is kind of rusty. I got a wire wheel though. I'll just put it up there.
So this is super crazy dangerous. I think you need about 300 amps.
You riding this?
What the fuck is happening?
Balin said not to talk crap about this camera. It's a piece of shit.
That right there is Balin Mania. And we are gonna do something really stupid today. This is a terrible idea. Balin might die.
This is so unbelievably sketchy.
That's the power of really old engineering.
Why must you put me through this, you jerk?
Hey, aren't you that guy with the truck?
Not okay.
Make a wish, everyone.
Make a wish.
No, I'm not doing this.
No, go. You went too far.
Someone doesn't stop us. I have no faith in authority at all.
He's making me uncomfortable.
That shit burns well.
Yeah, it does. That's good tape.
He's still looking at us. We should probably leave. Yeah, he is. He's intently staring at us.
This guy, man. This guy.